Today, we're gonna do the break-in
oil change.
Ooh, I just hit 1,000 miles. So the process to change this oil in this car is fairly simple. The manual will tell you every 6,000 miles or closer to 3,000 in severe conditions. That also applies to if you're tracking or autocrossing or hitting the canyons. Most of us like to change out the oil after the 1,000-mile break-in, where you're trying to keep it under 4,000 RPM, and there's going to be some, you know, metal particles and whatnot. You want to get that out of there. Interestingly, like the Toyota manual, instead of 3,000 and 6,000, it says like it's like 7,500 or something. And then severe conditions like 3,700 or something like that. It's just kind of interesting because it's the same engine. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and do the 1,000-mile oil change. You're gonna want a jack and some decent jack stands, or you could use race ramps. I have both. I think I'll just use race ramps maybe today. And you're gonna wanna make sure the car is nice and warmed up so the oil flows nicely. You're gonna wanna jack it up or put it up on the ramps. You're going to want to open the top cap so it flows better. And then you're gonna go ahead and get under the car. Make sure you have a nice drain pan or a not so nice drain pan, it doesn't really matter. And you'll actually see that on the skid plate there's a little cutout for the oil drain bolt, and it has 3 bolts on it. The little bolts in the skid plate are 10 millimeter. And then you can go ahead and just take off 2 of them and loosen 1 of them and rotate that thing around. A little bolt and a washer, put that aside. Another bolt and a washer. You just slide that over. And now we have access to our drain plug. The drain plug is 17 millimeters. Go ahead and open the drain bolt. I think it's on there tight. Careful not to make a mess. There we go. And let it drain. After it drains, you can also take off the filter to change that as well. You should be able to take it off by hand. If not, there are wrenches for that. But you want to get in the habit of just tightening and loosening by hand. It's not necessary to like Hulk grip it on there. After you take that off, you can use a rag and kind of clean up the contact areas where the new crush washer and old drain bolt will go, and also the new filter. Just kind of clean up the area. On the new filter, I'll put the item number here so you can order that, as well as the crush washer. On the new filter, you want to just put a little bit of oil around the contact ring of the filter, fresh oil. Go ahead and screw that thing on just hand tight. Then down below, you want to make sure you put a new crush washer every time you change the oil with your drain bolt. A lot of times there's some confusion because like the first crush washer that comes on the car will be like sometimes painted and stuck to the bolts, and so people think they took it off, but it's still there, and then you get double crush washer, and that can cause problems or leaks or whatever. So make sure you take that off. In this case, I'm going to be installing a FUMOTO drain valve to make future oil changes easier. That's something you install, and then you can just flick a little switch and it will let the oil run, or you can plug a hose onto it and run it like directly into a container instead of unscrewing and doing a crush washer every time. Comes with its own washer here, its own little locking piece. This is the F108S. It has the little nipple that sticks out that you can put a hose onto. Basically, this plastic piece protects it from opening, Once you're ready to do an oil change, you take that off and you press this lever in and down and it opens to let the oil out. When you're done, you flip it back up, it locks into place and you put your little protective piece back on and you are good to go. Now it can't open on its own. It's pretty cool. Now you want to take a new crush washer and put it on your drain bolt and make sure to take off the old one. In this case, with this valve, you're gonna have this little blue washer and you're gonna hand tighten it and it should go on smoothly. You wanna be very, very careful not to strip the threads on your oil pan. That's gonna be a pain in the ass to replace. So don't go too tight. For this one, it says tighten with a crescent wrench or an adjustable wrench. Just hand tighten and tighten it a quarter turn past hand tight. So this is hand tight, that's a quarter, and I'm gonna call that good. And as you see, it clears the pan here. Anyway, this is how it looks when it's on there. Got your little lever here, got your little locking piece, and now you just gotta button up this skid plate piece. Then as far as oil goes, manual states 0W20. I'm sure by now you've heard online people talking about putting thicker oil in there to prevent some of the oil starvation and help it when it's on track, etc., etc. We're just going to do a by the book oil change here other than the drain valve. So we're doing 0W20. We went with Pennzoil Ultra Platinum. And then for quantity, it's 5 liters or 5.3 quarts. So now you're gonna need some kind of funnel. Any kind will do, really. Or you can get some kind of filling container with measurements on it with a spout. This is 5 quarts. We need 5.3, so gotta dump this whole thing in. Make sure this is open. This is like there's a lock on the bottom of this funnel. So you can close it and make a measurement, and then open it and dump it, but we don't need that now. There's also talk on the internet of slightly overfilling to protect from oil starvation. This mostly matters for tracking the car where you have lots of high G forces. So do this, all this kind of stuff where you're deviating from the manual, do it at your own risk. So we got our 5 quarts in there, now we need 0.3. So we can go ahead and close this. Now open this, let this drain in, should be good to go. People online are doing like half a quart or half a liter to a whole liter. I wouldn't go over a whole liter. If you get too much of an overfill, you're gonna get like foaming. Honestly, for street driving, you're probably okay. Just make sure that you regularly check the oil level and make sure it's nice and topped off. And as long as you're never driving around with it under, you should be okay. Now, to check the oil level, you really want to get everything circulating and hot. But just to make sure we didn't do some kind of miscalculation or something, let's just see that we're in the ballpark of where we need to be so we don't start the engine with not enough oil or something like that. And you check the lower side, and it's kind of hard to tell with the new oil because it's almost clear, but the shiny part just goes barely above the top dot. Should be good. Okay, so here's what you can do to get the oil circulating and primed. Clutch all the way in, gas all the way in. Don't be afraid. And now it's all primed. Now, let it down off these ramps. And I'm just going to let it run for a few minutes and then I'll check it again. Classic tractor noises. A lot of comments on Reddit, does my car sound normal? If it sounds like a tractor, then yes. Look at that, perfect. It's like a hair. I don't know if you kind of have to go by the sun glistening on it. I don't know if it picks up on the camera, but it's just over the top dot, so we are good. Again, overfill at your own risk. Use different viscosity at your own risk. If you're already modding the car anyway, then it doesn't matter, but I'm trying to keep that warranty, so make sure you wipe off any extra oil that may have splashed anywhere. Now we can go for a drive. Oh man, to be able to rev past 4,000. We know that these cars have some oiling issues, so I would say just stay on top of your oil changes, do them sooner rather than later, and frequently check oil levels and top off when needed. That's all you need to worry about for street driving. Tracking, once you've already decided you want to get rid of the warranty, there's some other options, oil coolers and different baffles and whatnot you can mess with, but I think that's that.